In this exercise, I'm going to add 3 new methods to my calculator. To calculate the square root of a number, calculate the area of a sphere given its diameter, and to calculate the length of the hypotenuse of a triangle given the other 2 sides. The first thing you should note is that the first 2 of these methods only require 1 argument. Let's start by defining a method to calculate the square root. I'm going to define my method, square root, and take 1 argument. This time I'm just going to call it value. To calculate the square root, of course, I'm going to call math.sqrt for square root and pass it the value. And then, to print it out to the screen, I'll use my display method that we created in the previous exercise to display that to the screen. But there's a problem here. As I said, square root only requires 1 argument. So in order to handle this, we'll need to change the order that we retrieve our input from the user. Let's start by moving the operator question to be the first question. Now we can say that if the operator is not equal to sqrt, then we'll ask for the second operand. And of course I need to call the square root method when I pass the correct operator. So let's add 1 more line at the bottom of our code here. We'll just copy the divide line. But of course, square root only takes 1 operand, so we'll just use op_a here. Now when I run my program, I'm going to use the sqrt operator and pass the number 15, and I get 3.87 as the result. And notice that the program only asked me for the first operand and not for a second. To calculate the area of a sphere, I'm going to define a method called sphere area, and once again this method will only take, in this case it's going to be the diameter of the sphere, so I'm going to call the argument diameter. So the formula to calculate the surface area of a sphere from its diameter is simply pi times d squared. So to do this in Ruby, we can say math pi times diameter times diameter. But a neater way would be to use the exponent or power operator and use **2. I'll leave the comment in place so that anybody looking at this code later can ascertain how I've calculated. But of course we have to use the display method to display the result of the sphere area. So then to make sure I only use 1 operand for the sphere area method as well, I'm going to add another condition to my if here. An operator not equal to sphere area. I'll use that for my input string. Then we'll add a line to the bottom. We'll call sphere area with op_a for the operator is equal to sphere area. Let's run the calculator again. This time we'll use the operand sphere area. We'll give it an operand of say 70 and we'll get our result straight away. The final method is used to calculate the length of the hypotenuse of a triangle. Think back to high school math where you learned about Pythagoras. So we can call our method here, say, hype for hypotenuse. And of course this method will once again take 2 arguments, so I'm going to call them simply a and b. So to calculate the length of our hypotenuse, we must call math.sqrt for square root, and we're going to go a to the power of 2 plus b to the power of 2. So that's saying a squared plus b squared. We'll close our method, And once again, we'll use the display method to display the results. And because our hype method requires the same number of arguments as divide, I'll copy the divide code, change the method name obviously, and the operator. Let's run the calculator for a final time. This time we'll say hype for the operator, and we'll say 56 and 35, and we get the result for our hypotenuse.